All right, it is Wednesday. We are back on our regular schedule after a week in Nashville where we, due to conference nature, have to run it one day earlier. We did not want to compete with the closing event for the conference. That would be not good. So, but it was great being up in Nashville, but it's equally great, of course, being back home again and to be able to run this on a more normal setup than to try to juggle everything on a stage with a laptop and multiple cameras. And I have my limit in multitasking, put it that way. Hey, Andrew, good to have you back as well.
Yeah, same. I feel like this is sort of the event that I feel like is putting me back on schedule and back on routine. And I agree, as amazing as running office hours is at the event, and I hope we get to do it for a very long time. It's a little more stressful than sitting at home and doing it.
Yep. Doesn't help that you have like 100 people watching at the same time in the same room. It's like, all right, do
exactly.
not mess up. But
exactly. But it's good. We're back. We're getting back to a routine. I'm getting my voice back now. If you didn't notice.
Oh, I can tell. I remember Monday morning or I guess it was afternoon, you were a little bit rusty in the voice.
That's absolutely correct. And I should say before we get going, I'm excited that it's hoodie weather finally.
Yep.
We came home to hoodie weather, that's for sure, after 80 degrees every day in Nashville.
Yep. The horses, they proclaimed like, this is horse shit. This is not okay. It's cold. It's windy. We want the summer back.
I bet.
They cuddle up together in their shed and like, oh, no.
No, thank you.
Indeed. Anywho, what news have you?
So I've got a couple of fun things that I came across. First and foremost, if you want to share my screen. First one I had is...
I'm on it. Oh, moment, sir.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. I was just going to preface this first one that I have here, not so much systems management, but it was just interesting that I came across it. These days, if you record a meeting in Teams, you always have video and audio. But there's actually a new audio-only recording option coming through with Teams. I just thought that was interesting, as having to pay attention as an organization to how much storage we're actually using across the tenant in SharePoint, for example. And I don't know about your experience, Johan, but oftentimes in the Teams meeting, really all you need is the audio recording or the transcription or something. If somebody shared a PowerPoint slide deck, for example, they're going to send it along afterwards anyway. So I thought this was a welcome improvement, let's say.
Indeed. I mean, the same thing that platform we are using for office hours here, the Restream platform, they also always have been given that option to like download audio only for that reason.
Yeah,
it's a very nice touch to it. So I'm glad to see it coming to Teams.
Definitely. Another one I came across, this was just kind of a funny sidebar, but Per Larson shared this on X the other day. Legoland being almost done configuring their Windows 11 digital signage. I thought this was funny because based on the date here, likely that they were trying to do some, last minute, get everything upgraded to Windows 11 type thing. So thought it was worth sharing. Plus, I like Lego. If you didn't know, Johan.
It's noticeable.
It's almost time to switch this one out, but that's for another day.
That is for another day, indeed.
Another announcement came across. I feel like I've come across this announcement about 50 times in the last 2 years. And I guess it's more of a reminder than anything. But if you are still using AzureAD and AzureAD Preview PowerShell modules, be aware if they have not stopped working already, they will any minute now. So be aware of that. If you have some scripts that You may have forgotten we're running or something like that and using this module. If they don't run here coming up soon, this is the likely culprit why you are experiencing that. And I also came across this fantastic, it's short for a Rudy blog post, I would say, and I mean that in a positive way. But it came across this blog post from Rudy where he describes that Windows is going to be enumerating unknown SIDs that relate to Entra groups and Entra roles. What I mean by that is, if you look here in his screenshot, if you go to a device that is Entra joined, you will often see S-1-12-1 SIDs, which are all Entra SIDs. But then you'll see some of these that look like unknown SIDs.
Entra group SIDs, because user accounts will show.
Exactly. User accounts will show up just fine. Typically, if it's just a brand new device, what these are by default out of the box are the device administrator role and the global admin role. And up until this point, you've had to actually go through and translate those manually. So this is still in insider builds, but appreciate Rudy bringing this to our attention. This is something that I'm going to be looking out for, because Johan and I talk about this from time to time. So this is welcome news. Last but not least, you and I were having a great conversation, as we always do. But before we got started here, I was working with some hardware over the last couple of days that, surprisingly to me, did not have inbox drivers for network. And these were some of the new Dell, I still call them Latitudes, but I think they're Dell Pro devices. Had some issues with the recovery partition that I think I've solved, and then ended up ultimately installing Windows from a flash drive, like we've done 1,000 other times in our careers. And shockingly kept coming up with no network. Shocking to me, as it were. And lo and behold, I ended up downloading the wireless drivers, dropping them on a flash drive, and I've actually never seen the screen that Windows 11 asks you to go ahead and just point to the folder that has the drivers that you need in the out-of-box experience. And why this was a great conversation was because I was complaining about my trials and tribulations to you, and it turned out I realized how much I am often just working with the software side of things these days. I did not think that this was as common as you're seeing in a lot of the work that you do. And you were saying, I thought this was worth talking about on here, because you still see this frequently, and not just network drivers, for example.
Oh, I mean, the new Dell Pros, they are notorious, not just for not having full inbox driver support, but also because you have to add basically non-network, non-storage drivers into boot images just get deployment functional. There are basically chipset type drivers or bus drivers that are involved in that mix as well. And as hardware evolves, inbox drivers won't keep up. So it's quite common that you still have to provide at least a couple of drivers to get the deployment through, but obviously the entire driver package to make it fully happy. And that's also what the vendors are testing with. Their enterprise packages is what they test the drivers with. I have spent, it's a couple of years back now, but I spent a week with Dell in Austin in their lab. It was a beautiful lab, basically just an entire wall in like a warehouse type building in their complex, where they were constantly imaging devices all the time, different builds of Windows, different driver packages. Just you can see they're just cycling through all the time there. Every possible model they have that was still like in that supported range. Beautiful, of course, to see, but yeah, it's very common that drivers are missing. You have to provide driver packs to them.
So it seems like, and by the way, Zach is in the chat here agreeing with you. Still having this happen with Dell models 1 to 2 times per year. Get the new Dell WinPE and pray they install in the correct order. And absolutely, that's well said. So I think then if you're going towards cloud native, which is what I was working on, your options then are use the Dell image basically from the factory, or to your point, use a deployment solution to inject those drivers and reimage the device yourself if you have to.
Yeah, and especially if network drivers or inbox drivers doesn't cover network, or more commonly storage, depending on BIOS configuration, and then you may need to make sure that they are available, for example, a WinRE or whatever you need to do to recover that device, something we talked about a couple of times. So yeah, it's fun, or I think it's fun.
Well, what about, I have one last question then that I hope is useful for others. We've talked about this a little bit in the past, but as an aside for these devices, what is your take on Dell having the storage set to RAID by default in BIOS?
Crime punishable by, no, it's not recommended. I would not recommend. But if you are nice to your Dell rep or whoever vendor you work with, and maybe stick a little extra money on the side when you buy the machines, you can actually tell them how you want to BIOS configured, and they will do it happily for that little small fee, of course. But it's now, luckily, it's not too hard to change that direction, because ACI or HI is supported in box. So you will always have that driver. It's going the other way. That can be problematic.
Yeah.
So don't do RAID. Friends don't like friends do RAID.
Well said. Appreciate your input on that.
But I was very happy that you mentioned WinRE, because it became a beautiful segue into one of the not so great news from the last couple of days here. So I'm actually going to go ahead and steal the screen just like that. And this, by the way, is a pet project of mine. I've been playing around with it now for a couple of days. It's an open source solution that Microsoft put together. It's called the FFU Builder. It's basically a sector-based imaging solution that is very common. You might have seen this, Andrew, in the education space. But it will allow you to basically apply an image to a machine in about a minute. It's pretty quick.
I hadn't actually. You just gave me something to add to my research list.
Weekend list. No, anyhow, I thought it was fun to play around with. I got contacted by a customer, said, I'm trying to figure this out. I need help. I was like, I have never seen this in my life, but I'm pretty good with imaging. I can figure this out. It's just PowerShell behind the scenes. So that's what I've been spending a couple of days with, playing around with. But back to WinRE. That was not the point. Here, Mr. Mike Terrell put it very elegantly here. The initial October patch was not great for Windows 11 24H2, 25H2, and as it turned out, also Windows Server 2025. But this was the most important part. Basically, apps or solutions that leverage localhost would fail, and if you try to do recovery of the device to maybe punch in a BitLocker recovery key or something like that, keyboard and mouse didn't work. And that makes that process just so much harder. So
I would say so.
So luckily, Microsoft got notified pretty quickly about this. So they released, I believe it was the day before yesterday, they released an out-of-band update. Windows latest posted about this. But this one is available right now for download and installation, rolling out through update. But you can, of course, just snatch that KB number as well. Head over to the catalog site and search for that patch, and you can see you can download that neat little 4 gig package that have that update in it. And this in turns is a segue to something very related.
Real quick before we segue, sorry, it does look like, I just wanted to confirm this, the last updated on the cumulative update itself looks like the CU was actually re-released.
That has been, yeah, it could have been, yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Sorry.
Yeah,
segue.
no worries. segue into big updates. Because Mr. Niehaus, on the very last day last week, or I guess it was Friday, well, the 5th workday out of 7, he started to break down, okay, what really is in these large updates. And to no one's surprise, because we had a speculation during MMS, like, all right, this is AI components. We've seen that before. But it turned out that was absolutely true. First of all, there is a good chunk of files in that update, just a few. But then all these MSIX packages that are indeed for AI component, that's what makes up the size. Luckily, most clients, when you work with updates, if they don't need a component, it doesn't have to download everything, but we still see like a 1-2 gig download of updates to every device. So anyhow, if you haven't stumbled across this post, it's a great read. It explains a little bit on why these are so big these days. So thank you, Michael, for providing that one.
He also, just a couple of days ago, released another one around feature updates, sort of doing the same type of detective work.
But that one I have not seen. I saw it
very top
at MMS. Oh, that's one. All right. Yeah. All right, fantastic. Even better. Yeah, it is slightly bigger. The media has grown from 5 gigs up to 7 gigs.
And they're not. I've been around you when you've talked about this several times now over the last couple of months, and every time I'm still shocked at that's a large increase.
A little bit. Percentage-wise, it's pretty bad.
Yeah.
It's like a 30-some% increase.
Gone are the days of throwing media on a little 4 gig flash drive. Or a DVD.
Floppies, Andrew. That's what we used in the past.
Sorry. Respect.
Anything from large 8 wobbly ones to 5 1/4 less wobbly ones, and to the 3.5 inch that not wobbly at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, those were the days.
Reminds me of when you and I and Michael Nystrom were on stage and we had 3 generations of physical media.
That is true.
It's awesome.
Yeah. On a slightly better news is, of course, the announcement that Devolutions, the company behind the remote desktop manager, this one that I use all the time, acquired PowerShell Universal.
No kidding.
Oh, yes. I'm not sure if the purchase has gone through yet, but they did announce this the earlier week. So, yeah. All right, let's see what happens there. They in the post they told about basically brought that team over into their organization. So that'll be cool, I think.
Definitely.
Then Mr. Merrill, the gentleman behind Uninstall Graph and behind Graph X-Ray and pretty much everything Entra, he shared that they put out a blog post explaining, it was last week, 17th, basically showcasing what's been doing in that platform. So even though those are for the previous month here, there was a lot of good reading in this post regarding updates for Entra that has been coming out lately. Then there was a post related to what's upcoming in Microsoft Copilot, and more specifically Copilot Actions, basically local agent type solutions that you can play around with, for example, to parse your PDF files or whatever that might be that you want to work with. So I thought that was interesting and mentioning as well. Basically, local agents, that does the work, whatever that work is. And then I don't think anyone, and this is not on the good side again, this is on the not so good side. Most people noticed that Amazon had a tiny little outage on Monday. I've seen a couple of memes with a classic Homer Simpson logo saying like, this is the worst AWS outage in history. And then he's being corrected himself below, like, worst outage in history yet.
Yep.
But anyhow, long story short, it was DNS. That in turn led to machines not finding their configuration databases and whatnot. And eventually they had to start throttling their EC2 Elastic instances, and that doesn't sound so bad, right? Except that's their virtual platform. So it took them good 13, 14, 15 hours to get everything back on track again, and they were on. Last number I saw was 2,000 large organizations, basically web presence gone.
Yeah.
Two that stood out to me that David Whistler from Microsoft, he posted a tweet from his mother not being able to watch Amazon Prime. Had reached out to him about that. And then our boy at home, of course, Roblox were down, so that was terrible.
Terrible. Fortnite was down too.
Yeah, it's a big deal. Plus many others.
Yeah.
But it came to another site that if you do stumble across outages like this, there is one website that simply will explain it all. And this is isitdns.com. It's a great website. And the answer is yes.
Always.
Unless it's certificates, but otherwise it's always DNS. All right. What else? Microsoft Intune settings. They announced the full support now for 25H2 with 26 additional catalog settings described in that post there. So that one I think was worth mentioning. Let's see what else I stumbled across. Oh, we had the System Center dudes. Also a very timely blog post on how to configure extended updates through ConfigMgr and Intune, and a really nice walkthrough what it's all about, where you get the stuff and how you're going, what requirements there are and whatnot. A little PowerShell script to help with it. And as always, these folks, they are smart. Good blog posts, well explained, like it. Highest stamp of approval.
I agree. They made this very easy, this rollout.
And another post related to the Copilot changes there. Also upcoming stuff. They posted a demo earlier this week. Must have been some sort of event they were running, because I saw like 3, 4, 5 articles being released at the same time around this, either last week or could have been early this week also. This one obviously early this week.
Mm-hmm.
Anyhow, worth mentioning. And then Ben Reeder is back from I haven't seen posts from him in quite a while. He works with Patch My PC, but he released a post on the new latest changes in the site configuration version 3. Apparently has been completely rebuilt. So I haven't had a chance to play around with this in quite some time. I don't use the original version much at all, but apparently a lot of people like it, so I figured it was worth mentioning. And finally, just because it made me laugh in a day when I needed a laugh, this one here I thought was absolutely brilliant.
That is fantastic.
That is absolutely fantastic. So I figured it would be worth sharing. But that was what I had in terms of news. A little bit more than usual, but it's been an eventful 2 weeks or week and a half with MMS in the mix as well. So finally start to get up on catching up on sleep. So that's a good thing.
Yes, it is. Much needed.
I had a royal nap this afternoon, 2.5 hours.
Woo.
That
Well,
felt good.
yeah, you've had an interesting schedule this week, so probably well deserved and much needed.
Well, we're running a Intune class, but for a company in Europe, and to be somewhat nice to them because they're a bunch of people. We start at 5 morning my time and we run to 9. But I'm often up until after midnight, so well, I'm getting old, man.
But that's why you need a long nap.
Yes, that is the point. But do we have any questions or comments for that matter?
We do quite a few. So it looks like it's interesting. The UI on our chat changed a little bit on this platform, so I think I'm going to have to get used to it showing folks' usernames and not their profile picture. But anyways, I definitely recognize some usernames in here. I see Zach's joining us, Matthew's joining us, Michael Leary joining us, Amir. So hello, everybody, first and foremost. The first question that we have here, and maybe you can help me out, Johan, if you caught this, but Matthew said, where do I need to update this? Any guidance on what to check? And I'm not sure, Matthew, if that is... we didn't get a first question coming through, or if that was in reference to something that we were sharing earlier.
No, beats me. I might need to have a clarification on that one.
All right. So Matthew, if you could let us know what this was referring to, that would be helpful, and we'll try to get you an answer.
I think that comes to mind was the patch that came or re-released and then available as a...
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll keep an eye out, Matthew, if you've got a follow-up. Let's see. So Clive has been using Patch My PC in his environment. Finally, sometimes get another installation in progress and it fails. Have you seen that? Secondly, is there a way to update the built-in Windows 11 apps via PowerShell? The Defender portal is complaining that it's out of date. So first and foremost, are we seeing any installation conflicts with Patch My PC applications, basically?
Not something that I stumbled across neither in Intune or ConfigMgr.
No, same here. They're usually pretty good about keeping those things from conflicting. But one thing you may want to try with, if it's just a specific application, you can actually pop up like a notification that asks the users to close their apps first. You can maybe play around with a little bit of that customization. But I've not seen too much of that failure out of the box, so long as the application can close and everything. So that might help, I hope.
And otherwise, reach out to their support. They are
fantastic.
Yeah.
And they're always very happy, and in my experience, very quick to help. Clive's second question here was, is there a way to update the built-in Windows 11 apps via PowerShell?
Well, the update itself is triggered automatically every other day. There is a WMI class you can call to force that to kick in. I used to have that in my lab. Let's see here. If I go over to the server here. Might I put this in this folder? Invoke store update. That sounds reasonable. when we were testing basically DO traffic and whatnot, we often initiate. And now I'm trying to launch ICE from a command prompt. Is it Monday? No, it is Wednesday. Can launch ICE from PowerShell prompt. That works, but not from a command prompt unless you provide a full path. So let's see, demo, lab environment, scripts. That was a script name. I usually, when I run this, I usually ask the event log, okay, how many updates have you updated recently? And I get a count of it. And then I run this a method on a specific WMI class to force an update of those components. It does require that you actually allow that to happen. It's possible that the service is stopped or something, but this will trigger all the updates of inbox applications that kick in. So we put that up on, maybe we didn't. For GitHub repo, thinking of it. Let's see. Here we go. Not sure why I put it in the ConfigMgr folder, but I did. So that is that script. So it's up there. And we will get the links here under the video. So, all right. And Andrew does his disappearing and coming back again.
That means I have to pull up YouTube now, because when that happens, I think I'm back now, right?
Yeah, I can hear you.
The only reason I knew I was gone because the chat just went poof. And
Oh, rude.
That is very rude. And
Andrew does his.
Let's see here.
There was some echo with the audio coming through back.
Yep, I got it.
Yep.
Fixed.
Mute.
All right.
Double mute. All right.
Yep. So we're all good now.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. All right. Sorry about that. I do not know what the heck just happened. All right. So, thank you for that, Johan, for showing that script. We've got a question over here on YouTube. I have a prototype Surface that I am unable to find drivers after I install Windows. And I think this is the follow-up later. How can I find a driver for specific firmware versions? Any ideas on how to do that? Or for this Surface?
Drivers are rarely required for specific firmware updates. I mean, there could be exceptions. Even the Surface devices are special, but usually they are available for download directly from Microsoft. But that particular version or model I do not recommend, so I do not know.
All right.
It said which Surface model it was.
Just said it says a prototype Surface.
Well, they might not be available. That might have to be a support call to get if it's a prototype. I didn't know you can even buy those.
Maybe it's a prototype for their organization.
That could be the case also. Let's see a quick search on that revision. Oh, that did not come up with any useful.
Oh no, they said this is a prototype.
Right. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do not know. Talk to support.
Yep.
Whoever got to that device, reach out to them. I don't think those are public.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
See a follow-up comment here from Michael Leary. we were talking about boot drivers earlier. He has to do the same for HP devices few times a year, so that makes sense.
Definitely. I mean, pretty much all the vendors, they do offer boot image drivers in a package for those devices that they release, and they update them a couple of times every year, as well as their driver packages. Yeah.
Matthew's asking about the Cloud Management Gateway Connection Analyzer, using that with client certs. Will this confirm the cert on my clients will work with the CMG?
It doesn't check the cert that you have on your client. You provide it with a cert, and it tests that certificate. Or test the connection with that certificate. So typically, if that cert is the same as you have on the device, yeah, then it should work. But it's not using the local certificate. It's a certificate that you provide to it. Typically with a PFX, like where you have to punch in, it contains the private key. You have to punch in the password, and then it tests.
All right.
I don't think I have a cert I can show, but the question is more related to the ConfigMgr CMD setup down here, when you have the option of running the analyzer, and you have the option of either log it in or pick a cert. Oh, it actually does allow you to pick from the store as well. I have always just used the file. I don't remember that I had a store option. Then you can, if you have a local in your store, this is obviously not because I'm on the site server, but I've always used the file option here, and then pick the cert, and then that will be a PFX certificate. So yeah, if you pick the local store, it should work.
Very good.
I think that is worth mentioning, because I was actually on a call with a customer a little while ago. They were using the CMD integration to launch sequences throughout the autopilot process, and they were trying to use their own PKI certificates for it, which is absolutely not recommended. It's much better to have a public cert, which is already trusted by the device, because otherwise you somehow need to get the root CA down to that device in a timely fashion, which is never the case through autopilot. And I think it was Niehaus that put it the best, because he wrote the post about this, must have been 2023. And he managed to break his search on his blog as well. So I have been using Google to search on his blog. He applied some new template that we're not friends. Niehaus and I are friends, but not that template. We are not friends. Let's see here. Provision TS Autopilot. This one, August 2023. So if you scroll down here in that post, that's the gist of it. Don't. It's the wording. And when someone like Niehaus says something like that, I'm like, yes, sir.
Yes, probably smart to listen.
So, anywho.
All right. We've got some more driver fun here. Amir is mentioning that yesterday they saw Lenovo begin publishing separate SCCM driver packs for NVIDIA. Their README says that systems with an NVIDIA GPU need two packages. One is the NVIDIA pack, and the other is the standard driver pack. Do you know if the driver automation tools can handle this properly? OSD Cloud grabbed only the NVIDIA pack for us, which left the laptop without the rest of the drivers. And I should say, Dave Segura of OSD Cloud mentioned that he did see the issue here and will be working on a solution specifically for OSD Cloud.
No, the driver automation tool does not account for that. It only picks one package per model that you download. So I don't know if Maurice is working on an update for that, but it's great to see that OSD Cloud is getting that extra lemon tender to get it added.
It's funny, every time it feels like or seems like drivers are getting a little bit easier or simpler to manage, we run into things like this, or like you talked about maybe sometime last year or 2 years ago that you discovered the driver order for specific devices became a problem, and
that was a royal pain. We showcased this a couple of times, but it actually, the offline injection order in some rare edge cases does matter.
Yeah.
So that was an interesting one.
I guess that's just more me complaining than anything. Drivers are still a challenge and still something that you do have to think about.
Yeah, sure. All right, let's see what else.
Richard is asking a follow-up to the Windows app question. Will those commands that you showed work for the Microsoft.SecHealthUI app if third-party AV is installed? We're seeing an increase of a specific CVE since starting Windows 11 upgrades.
I have no idea. I do not know. Try and find out, because the event log logs everything that gets updated in that link that I showed earlier in that entry. So I did blog about that when you had all of those sysprep issues back in the days. You might remember those fun things. But there is an event log that is keeping track of these updates. So if you query that event log like I did in my PowerShell script, you should be able to see something in there. That should be a verification. And also these days, some of the inbox apps you can download from WinGap. We covered that a couple of times as well. So if there is not updated as it should there, you can certainly try to get them that way also. Because it does, in this case I was downloading, I think it was Calculator or something. Yeah, it was Calculator I was updating. It's kind of hard to see here, but that was Calculator. So maybe that.
All right. Might be worth showing Zach's latest comment here on the stream. Got a well-deserved shout out there, I think.
On that one, I have probably 50 different.
Should be the one at the very top of your chat. It's the latest comment that we have in here.
I want to see the one that he says his voice is also still questionable. I don't think it was that one.
No, that was earlier. Well, in any rate, he said, at OS deploy, Dave Segura, you are so great.
That one I found. Yes,
there it is.
He is all right, isn't he, Mr. David?
Indeed.
So, but yeah, thank you for what you do for the community. This is good stuff, of course.
Absolutely. So Matthew's got a follow-up here in reference to not using PKI for CMG. That is what we are doing, as well as not extending the AD schema, no matter how much I try to get them to.
Sneak in the change, they won't notice.
Yep.
But I was on a call with a customer earlier today. I was like, they were trying to convince. They were basically hammering down that very wrong road, and I tried to explain like this is not a good idea. What you're trying to do is not wise. It will fail. Yeah, but it is failing. Yeah, I know. Don't do this. It's like take a fairly large hammer and smack yourself on the thumb really hard twice, and getting surprised that it hurt the second time too. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna sting. Sometimes, yes. All right.
Yeah, that's the tough part of our job sometimes is dealing with the organizational aspect. But I agree. Who's going to notice a systems management container showing up?
Yeah.
Maybe the overzealous InfoSec team. I don't know.
Perhaps, yeah, you might get fired, but it could be worth it. So sometimes it's better to ask for forgiveness than
Yeah.
permissions.
Yeah.
Rare cases. Good Lord. Sometimes I miss Michael Nystrom. He had this, still has this incredible knack to coming up with these great analogies that just made a customer just get it. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. We probably shouldn't.
Yeah, he does have a knack for that. That's for sure.
All right.
All right. I've got a question here on a Lenovo Thinkpad P1 while on a Teams and Zoom call. I don't know if that means simultaneously or if it happens in both pieces of software. Windows Desktop suddenly displays a black screen or hangs. Has anyone heard of this issue?
Specifically for those, but when you get the black screen, it's typically that the driver, video driver crashes for some reason. Reliability history may give you a clue. Event log might give you a clue. If you get a crash dump, you can analyze that one.
That would be one of those situations where a very close friend of mine, and I think that you would probably agree in general, Johan, often tells me, did you update to the latest drivers before you tried anything else?
Much, or sometimes downgrade.
Yeah.
Because sometimes vendors release drivers, especially if you use these like fancy gaming drivers because you want to have support for just that cool game that you bought. They might not be the best driver for everything else. So try a couple of different versions of the driver and see if it helps.
Yep. I have not seen yet. Is it in 25 H2 or just the September October CU that blue screens are now gone and they are a black screen? Unrelated to the question here, but
I don't know. Perhaps.
Let's see if I can find it. Yeah, I guess I just don't remember when it's coming, but the blue screen or already came. Blue screen of death is now the black screen of death. And I haven't seen it yet myself. Just, I guess is a good thing. Let's hope that it stays that way.
But if it is indeed a regular crash, just that it's black instead of blue, then you can use the regular WinDebug tools that you have available through the SDK.
Yeah.
So you can troubleshoot stuff like that. And just open up the DMP file and analyze it. And it will tell you what's going on. There was one question coming in earlier regarding the FFU Builder that I showed briefly. I plan on doing some sort of information around that because it's a pretty cool solution all in all. That kind of mimics what normal deployment solution are trying to do. But it's purely PowerShell driven. It's using the FFU format instead of WIN files. So it's sector-based imaging, so you need to make sure the sector size, etc., is correct. But I stumbled across a good, cool things in that script. It's a very responsive UI for being PowerShell. I was quite impressed by that point. But long story short, for example, there was stuff that I found in those scripts. See where I put that, not that one. Here. For example, they enable not many people know this, but there are options in the file system in Windows to enable long paths. And that can be particularly useful when you are doing driver extraction. Sometimes those paths can be really, really long, way above the 260 that is the default. I think the maximum now is like 32,000 that you can have, possibly for Unicode. But anyhow, if you take that one and you do a bit of a Google search on it, you don't have to go far, but it's explaining how that one works. But other than that, I found this solution pretty cool. You set up your Windows settings that you want to deploy. You have updates for components. You can add in applications, either WinGet or others in the list. Update Office, add in drivers for different models, and then you build a reference image using it. And then you apply that to a USB stick and deploy it. So it worked well. Seems to be popular in the community, and the primarily education space this one come from. But I haven't had a chance to play around with it more than a couple of days because I basically needed to learn it quickly to sort out an issue they were having. It was my first time working with it. But if you search for it, it will take you straight to that repository from Builder. From Richard. He works for Microsoft. It's his education space. But if you're like looking for inspiration for scripts, these scripts are really nice, well documented, well written, good for inspiration. And I like inspiration. So, anywho, I thought it was cool.
And you like good documentation.
That too. That too.
No, this is awesome. I had not used it either, so I'm looking forward to getting into this. All right. There was a follow-up here in the chat that it has been a black screen in 24H2 for a while, and so thank you for that. I finally found, looks like back in July, changed over to black screen.
Right. So,
hey, 3 months.
Yeah. No, but if there is indeed a crash, so that is generated depending on your settings in Windows, because you can configure how much Windows should capture a crash. But if there is a crash, you can just open up WinDebug and you can open that crash dump file. And I think I have a couple of crashes here. So the troubleshooting. Here's a memory dump. So you just open that in the tool and you analyze it, and it will tell you reasonably well what it was that was crashing. If there's a driver, it will tell you what driver it was, stuff like that. So it can be analyzed pretty quickly. And if you do a bit of a Google on analyzing blue screens, there are tons of videos on the topic. I know that Sami, our friend over in Finland, Sami Laiho, he has a training academy focusing on basically analyzing blue screens. So I know that one of the authors behind Windows Internals, Windows NT Internals book, he is also hosting trainings on those topics. So could be something to look into.
There's a comment here in the chat about blue screen view as a tool as well. I don't know if you're familiar.
I haven't tried that one, but that sounds promising. Yeah, TrainSec. This one is done by one of the authors of that book. So could be interesting. These are fairly inexpensive ones. Maybe not the entire package, but I think the blue screen course was like $80. So I mean, it's not the end of the world.
No, not at all. Oh, blue screen view looks like that's Nearsoft. They've got a whole bunch of different utilities.
Yeah, I've used a couple of those in the past. Do you have it up on your screen?
I will in right now. So yeah, a whole page worth of utilities, system utilities, disk utilities.
Use their Incentive tools to tap into incentive databases like branch cache. Very useful.
Yep. Zach mentioned here in his comment, you already answered this, but asked if ViaMonstra has any classes on WinDBG. But I like Nate Zienert's comment here. Sounds like an idea for a good MMS session, debugging Demolition Derby.
I love that idea. Yes.
That could be a brain-hurting beer session at MMS.
Yes, we should submit one. But no, our academy currently do not have an internal session. The closest thing we have is a new thing we're doing here in October. We call it Back to Basics. And we will follow up that next year with a 6-week course on Back to Basics. Basically like skills that every engineer should know, but not necessarily know if you are especially if you're new into IT. It turned out we picked up at least a couple of things the last 30 years. So,
at least one or two.
No, but it's so often you talk to folks, especially if again they are new in the IT industry, and you're like, yeah, of course you have seen this utility, of course you know this and that. Like, nope. you forget that we were once young and new.
It's true. I'm looking forward
I'm
to
old.
those.
I still learn new things.
I should hope that's part of I think that's part of the fun of what we do. Learning new things.
Zach just added a comment regarding the blue screen view. It is okay, but apparently has not good enough details. So, all right, thank you for that, Zach. All right, cool. Hey, cow, it's 5:28.
So, awesome conversations today.
What did you do? Time just fast forward.
When one brings drivers up as a topic, I guess that ends up knocking out a little bit of time, as it turns out.
Well, it could also be that I had a news rant for almost like 20 minutes. That could have eaten up a little bit.
Great stuff, though. I mean, it's been a busy 2 weeks, as you said.
Yeah.
Oh, you see Zach's comment there?
Oh yeah. Yeah, it was fantastic seeing you again. So thank you for that. Yeah.
I agree so much, Zach. Thanks. It was great seeing you as well.
Alrighty. That means I don't see any more questions in the queue, and we are pretty much up on time here. So I think this is it. Can go back to that little fancy video I found as a background here. I thought it was pretty cool.
Oh, there you go.
But yeah, jungle something, bushes, I don't know. But everyone, thank you so much for joining us today. Thank you, Andrew, and we hope to see you again next Wednesday, 4:30 p.m. Central Time. Have a great week, everyone.
Yep. Thank you, Johan. Thanks, everybody.